say it's 4 minutes past. Let's kick it off, get into it, and then people will trickle in, but I think we're in a good spot. So, oops. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, depending where in the country or the world you are. Thank you for joining us today for a Mastering Katalyst session, an hour of pro tips and expert guidance. My name is Val. I do marketing here at Katalyst, and we have a few team members on the line as well. We have Cameron, we have Isabel from our care team, and obviously we have Michael that's going to host us today. And before I kick it off to him, I will go through some of the some of the basics, just get it out of the way. So today we're going to spend about 60 minutes. It's not a hard stop. We'll stay on and answer questions, and we're really here for you. So roughly 60 minutes might be a little bit more or less. Um, Questions. Perfectly fine and so encouraged. Please ask questions. The way you do it is just to use the chat function in the bottom of your screen. Probably you'll say chat. You just hit that. You can select to everyone so everyone can see it. That's kind of a recommended because then it kind of shows maybe other people have the same question. But write it down and send it through at any moment. During the presentation, whenever you think of something, just write it down and we'll have our care team answering throughout, and we're also going to save a lot of the questions towards the end when we have an open Q&A to really answer them live. And then I think the last one is really, we know it's hard to always get away for a full hour, but we're recording this whole webinar. We're going to share the full recording afterwards, as well as the slides. So you won't miss anything. And then one more thing that's actually not on the slide is we're going to do a couple of surveys and poll questions throughout the webinar. So if you see something pop up, they're super quick, just requires you to hit your answer and hit submit, but it gives us a good idea of what you guys like, what you don't like, how you're using the Katalyst suit, and a ton of other stuff. But I think that's it. I think I'm just going to hand it over to you, Michael, and let you take it away
Nice.
and guide us through.
Nice. Thank you, Val. I am super excited that everybody's here. Thank you, first off, for joining the webinar. I know 60 minutes is a big chunk of the day, and it's not always easy to get away for that amount of time. So you being excited about working out speaks volumes for you being here. So I'm really thrilled that you're here, and I can't wait to help you get into the suit and get the most out of the suit. So first off, a little bit about me, a little background. I've been an athletic performance coach and strength and conditioning coach for my entire career. I was an athlete in college, and I've been in the fitness world ever since for 25 years or so. And so I only say that, I only bring that up because my first EMS experience was with Katalyst about a year and a half ago. They reached out to me about coming over and taking a look and seeing if I wanted to be a part of this amazing journey. And did my first workout just like many of you did, and was blown away. I've literally spent my life training, and I did my first EMS workout with Katalyst and could not believe it. So when I say my passion and my excitement and my enthusiasm is real, it really is. I love these workouts and I believe in them so much. So my goal for you in this webinar is to come out of this 60 minutes with confidence that what you're doing in getting the suit prepped is right. What you're doing in getting the suit on is right. What you're doing in selecting workouts is good for you. The intensities that you're feeling is right. Everything is dialed into the right space so that when you leave that 20-minute workout, you are confident that that was the best 20 minutes you spent all day. So that's my goal, and that's what we're going to work towards in these 60 minutes. So when you jump into these next workouts with me, you're excited about it. Okay, so let's start off. This is kind of the sequence of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start talking about some of these guided series that we're publishing now that you may have seen in the app. And we'll kind of go down this list and work our way down, finishing with whatever questions you have. So I want to make sure we leave time for some questions to answer whatever you can throw at. So let's start with talking about some of these new guided series. Now, one of the pieces of feedback that we've been given over the last year or so is to have programs, right? A more guided experience. People would get into our app and they just weren't sure of what workout to do next or how often to work out. So we started to film these programs. They're much more of a guided experience. So the first one that was published was this 6 weeks to building a habit. It's a fantastic workout. The intention to this program, or a fantastic program rather, the intention to this is to do exactly what it says. It's to get you into a habit, get you into a rhythm, right? They say it takes 45 days to make a habit. That's about 6 weeks. So the intention of this is 2 workouts a week, giving adequate time to recover. And, we'll talk about that here in a little bit as well, but 2 workouts a week through the 6 weeks. We take you through an array of style of programmings from full body to upper body focus, a lower body focus. Max and I do a core week in there, and then we introduce you to some power workouts. It's a great introductory program. Beyond that, from an introductory level, we publish these beginner intro programs and advanced intro programs. They're 2 week programs intended to do just like what it sounds, right? Introduction to Katalyst and the whole experience with Katalyst and with EMS. Now, the beginner and advanced, I want to touch on that really quick. And this is something that we'll talk about a little bit later in the presentation with levels. But the difference between the beginner and the advanced is largely in just the movement complexity, not the intensity level itself. So we'll touch on that much more deeply here in a little bit. There's now functional fitness programs that are in the app. A beginner functional fitness that Max does. And then I take you through an advanced functional fitness, 6 week programs, 2 workouts a week, really putting some movement compounds together. It's coached through the lens of developing functional strength, right? So that you can go about your day doing the things that you love to do with more confidence and more ability, and have more fun doing it, right? Okay, cool. So guided programs. Now into these modes. The difference of these modes, I want to talk about this for just a little bit. So we've got 4 modes at Katalyst, right? Strength, power, cardio, and recovery. And there's a very distinct difference between the modes that goes beyond just the style of movements and exercises that you'll find in these workouts, in these modes. So on strength mode and power mode, those operate on the 4 second on, 4 second off cadence, right? For 4 seconds, the impulse comes in, we're inducing muscular contractions, we take you through different movements, and then you have 4 seconds to recover, and then 4 seconds, right? So 4 seconds on, 4 seconds off, just like a metronome, like I talk about in the classes, right? Staying on that rhythm. It's amazing to keep you in this rhythm, right? I've spoken for my whole career about how important rhythm is in movements, whether we're doing lunges or whether I'm asking people to swing a baseball bat or something. Being in rhythm is really key. And these 4 seconds on, 4 seconds off forces you into that great rhythm. So I'm excited about that. The difference between strength and power. Strength is at a specific hertz level, 75 hertz we have it at, that is inducing contraction in your type 2 muscle fiber, right? So it's a mixture of slow twitch and fast twitch muscle fiber. And the sports science is really cool that we know exactly at what hertz the signal your brain is sending to induce that specific muscle fiber. So at 75 hertz, those muscle fibers are contracting. So the programming reflects that a little bit, right? Maybe fewer reps per 4 second impulse, a little bit more deliberate motions, really developing this great base of strength and endurance. In power, hertz is a little bit higher, and we're reducing what's called your type 2X muscle fiber, your fast twitch muscle fiber. Now, this is what's really exciting to me, the power mode. At that hertz, we're inducing this fast twitch muscle fiber, and that's something that we all need, not just the elite athletes, but everybody, right? If you trip and need to catch yourself and get your foot forward quick enough to catch yourself, that's fast twitch muscle fiber. And fast twitch muscle fiber, type 2X muscle fiber, is what starts to atrophy first as we age. So being able to induce that muscle contraction specifically is wildly exciting to me, because as we age, it gets harder and harder to do things in the gym that replicate that, right? I'm not going to have someone who is elderly go, run 40-yard sprints or something, right? It becomes logistically very challenging. So being able to activate that muscle fiber is pretty awesome. In those workouts themselves, the programming reflects it a little bit, right? I might ask you to do 3 or 4 reps per 4 second impulse. Now, there are higher movement complexities and the levels that we'll talk about soon, where you might do something that's more explosive, like say a jump squat in power mode, but they don't have to be there. So at a level 1 power class, you might see something that's very similar movement wise to a strength class, but we're activating those fast twitch muscle fibers. So in cardio mode is now very different. It's at a much lower hertz. We're not inducing a full muscle contraction in cardio mode like you do in strength. In cardio mode, it's a consistent pulsing sensation that's not fully contracting your muscles, but it is exhausting all of your muscular energy, ATP, it's called. It gets you into an aerobic state. It improves your cardiovascular capacity. This is a really exciting mode as well. We have trainer-led cardio classes, which are great. Isabel has some amazing ones out there. They're really fun to go through a trainer-led cardio class. Um, but we also have freestyle mode, and I'm just if I can like make my personal recommendation, I love doing my strength or power class at full capacity, and then immediately after putting it in freestyle cardio mode and going for a walk on the treadmill and just superimposing Katalyst over the top of a walk, maybe on a little incline on the treadmill, what would normally be what we call a low intense steady state cardio list, but with Katalyst on top of it, makes it significantly more challenging. So if you haven't done that yet, give that a go. It's great. And then recovery mode is even lower than that. That's at 5 hertz. It's a real gentle pulsing sensation. Again, like cardio, it's consistent. Um, but it's stimulating your lymphatic system and it's helping flush out muscular toxins and helping you recover and mobilize. So that's a really cool mode too. We have lots of yoga content in recovery, mobility classes in recovery mode. If you've done the Building Resilient Joints series, going back to that guided experience, we have a series called Building Resilient Joints that you'll see at the top of your homepage under the guided carousel. Kind of scroll over and you'll see one for hips, shoulders, lower back, and knees. In each one of those, we go through Max and I take you through a mobility class in recovery mode for each one of those that are pretty great. So go check those out as well. All right. So just to go through now a little bit of a example or recommendation, as it were, of integrating Katalyst into your week and what that might look like, right? So a week with Katalyst. If you're going to do 2 workouts a week, for example, that first column is what it might look like. Now we recommend in between a power and a strength workout 2 to 3 days. And this is something that is dependent on your body. I want you to make sure you're listening to your body. But because in power and strength mode, we're inducing a full muscular contraction, the contraction itself is much deeper than in a conventional workout, right? In a conventional workout, if you and I go to the gym together and I ask you to lift a dumbbell, you're only going to recruit maybe 60% of that muscle fiber because of evolutionary reasons, conservation of energy, that type of thing. Because we're delivering the signal straight into the muscle belly with Katalyst, you're getting up to 90% of your muscle fiber contracted. So it's much deeper, it's much more intense, it's much more effective. But for that reason, you need to make sure you're recovering in between. So power workout, then take 2 to 3 days in between before you do the next strength or power workout. Now, cardio mode, because it's not inducing a full muscular contraction, you can do much more frequently. Like I said, immediately after a strength or power workout, you could jump into cardio mode, or in this example, the day after, do another cardio workout, get back into your suit, take a couple days, and then do another strength workout. So 2 days a week. In the next column, we have a 3 day a week example, right? So it's very similar here. Power workout. You could add that little bonus 10 strength workout, which is something that is in those Building Resilient Joints series. You'll find a bonus 10 strength workout. There's about to be published a larger array of bonus 10 content that are just 10-minute strength workouts for this exact reason. If you feel like you need a little bit extra, then you have it. And then the day after doing a cardio, then taking a rest day, then a strength workout with another 20-minute cardio right after, which is my favorite. And then taking a rest day, jumping into a recovery session, and then doing that third workout of the week after that. That's a little example of how you can kind of break this up in your week and how it might look, giving yourself that recovery day. Now, this is a question that we get a lot. How do you integrate it into a conventional or a traditional workout session? If you want to continue to go to a gym and push actual weight, fantastic. That's still great. I still advocate for that for sure. If that's what you love to do, that's awesome. And you can integrate it into your Katalyst routine quite seamlessly, quite easily. Now, because of what I was saying, in a traditional workout, you're not recruiting as much muscle fiber as you are in Katalyst. There's a couple different ways you can think about doing this. So in this example, we have your strength workout on day one with that extra cardio right after, taking a rest day after, because after a Katalyst workout, I always want to make sure you're recovering, right? I don't want you to do a conventional lift the next day, right? Make sure you're recovering, maybe doing a active recovery day or even jumping into recovery mode, but giving your body a chance to recover from the work. Then doing a traditional session 2 days after that, right? So strength in Katalyst, rest day, traditional strength session, another rest day, and then into a strength or power workout. And then after that, taking an active recovery day is something I always advocate for, right? So if you're taking a rest day, you could have a rest day where you're not doing anything. But an active recovery day to me is really important. And that just means whatever it is you love to do, whether it's going for a hike or whether it's paddleboarding or whether it's skiing in the wintertime. I don't know, whatever it is that you love to do, that would be your active recovery day. Go and live your life, right? Have a good time doing it. And then dropping in an extra or your second traditional strength session right after that. So that's a good example of how you might integrate it into traditional workout. Cool. Okay, so this is something I alluded to or a little bit earlier, these levels and workout intensities. Now, this is something really important. I'm excited to talk about this because this is going to help you a lot if you're a little bit unclear and a little bit uncertain of what all this is. So in your levels, our levels at Katalyst, and this is something I want to be really clear about, the level 1 through 4, or 5 actually, we're referring to the movement complexity only, right? Not the intensity itself. So the intensity does not get higher with the level. Okay. So I want to be very, very clear on that. A level 1 class is only referring to a very simple movement complexity, things that are symmetrical, things that are bilateral. So a chest press or a squat. Okay. So those would be a level 1 movement. A level 2 class starts to incorporate some asymmetrical shapes, right? Maybe stepping back into a lunge, maybe a lateral lunge, maybe a single arm chest press. Level 3, we start to introduce rotation elements, right? And multiplanar motion. So you might step back into a lunge and rotate across your knee or something, right? That reverse lunge to rotation. That would be a level 3 class. Or a single leg RDL, where we're introducing some balance. That would be in a level 3 class, right? So level 3 starts to get into more balance elements. So just be clear that the level itself is only movement complexity. Now, this is something that we're starting to evolve and present in more and more exciting ways, because the reality is that an elite athlete, right, somebody who is at the tip of the spear of athleticism and super fit, can still get into a level 1 class and have a phenomenal workout, a wildly effective, efficient workout if their intensities are turned up and where they should be. So I want to make sure that everybody's very, very clear on that and understands that, right? You can still go back into these level 1 classes, or similarly, if you're a beginner to fitness, you can move up into and introduce slightly more movement complexity and just have your intensities turned back a little bit and still accommodate the movement. And it's something that I really believe in, something that I'm really excited about our workouts, is that the movement complexity, even though the level scale is talking about a progressively increasing movement complexity, the movement complexity in Katalyst is all still relatively simple. And that's one of the things that makes these workouts so magical, right? Generally, everything I ask you to do is vertically based, right? You're standing up. So in a previous life, when I coached for another fitness company and I would ask you to do a push-up, and I'm expecting people to actually get on the ground and do a push-up, I'm thinking as I'm coaching it, all the different ways people are messing up, right? Either their heads are dropping or their shoulders are up in their ears or their hips are dropping. It's a hard movement to do. And a lot of people struggle with doing a push-up, even a regressed form of a push-up. And you can't get out of it what you want to get out of it. And then you can't even progress to where you want to be. And it's a hard thing to do. Whereas in Katalyst, if I ask you to do a push-up, it's just extending your arms out and back. That's a very accessible motion. Anybody, well, let me say almost anybody, can do that motion unless you have like a shoulder injury or something. So it's a very simple, very accessible, very easy motion to do. And then you superimpose the intensity on top of it. And then that's where the challenge is. So in your intensities, let's talk about that for just a second. This is really key to the experience, obviously. Okay. So your intensities. First of all, we have a range that goes from 0 all the way up to 480. Sometimes people are like, oh, it's 0 to 100. No, it goes way up to 480. Okay. So at 480, that's crazy intense. That's land where nobody probably should be. Okay. So, but know that it does go that high. Now, if you've never done a workout before, if you're going to go jump into your very first workout here tonight or whatever, you are going to have a default starting intensity. Okay. So what does that mean? On the first minute of the workout, when you see me on camera or Isabel or Matt or one of our trainers, we're on camera and we hit play on our screen on camera, the workout starts. Over the course of that first minute, we slowly ramp you up to your starting intensity. So the first impulse you feel, especially if it's your first workout, you might not even feel it at all, right? It should be, or it's going to be very, very light. And then each subsequent impulse across the first minute, across those 8 impulses, will successively get a little bit harder, a little bit harder, a little bit harder. Now, the default number for men is 82 and for women is 57, but I can guarantee you that you need to adjust that for you, right? We need to customize it and personalize it to you. So that first minute, you get to your starting intensity. The second minute is your opportunity to make those adjustments, okay? So it's important that you adjust each individual muscle group, and we can talk about where you'll find all of that here in just a moment, but I want to make sure not just the overall number is increased to where you're feeling a full muscle contraction, but each individual muscle group. So you're going to highlight each one and turn it up until you feel that full tetanus, the full muscular contraction. Now, there's something I want to touch on here because this is really helpful in helping you understand what number you should be at and what you should be feeling. So there's an analogy that I like to use here. If you and I go into the gym together and I ask you to do a bench press, and I say, okay, I want you to put weight on the bar on this bench press, and I want you to give me 10 reps for this set. You have a 10 rep set, and you put weight on the bar to where you can do that set 35 reps. That weight is way too light. You're not going to get out of that set what I want you to get out of, what I'm prescribing for you. So you should be at a weight in that scenario where reps 8, 9, and 10 are really challenging, right? But you can do it with good form and everything. Reps 11, 12, 13, 14, you still have in the tank, but not many more than that. So it's challenging, right? That analogy applied to this is kind of where you should be at. So at your starting intensity, the first movement I ask you to do, if it's a chest press, then, and I ask you to do, let's say 2 reps, that should be hard. If you can sit here and do this 25 times, if you weren't limited by the 4 seconds, it's too light. Okay. I want it to be at a place where you can hit those 2 chest presses. It's challenging. You maybe could do 5 if you weren't limited by the 4 seconds, but not too many more than that. So it's hard, right? It's challenging. Now, once the end of the 2 minutes is, once you hit the end of those 2 minutes, trainer has control. And if you've done a workout yet, you'll see this. The trainer will ramp up your intensity. Generally, we ramp it up about 100%, give or take, depending on the trainer, depending on the program, depending on the workout, about 100%. So what does that mean? If you are at 100 at your starting intensity, you're going to finish at the end of the 20 minutes at 200. Okay. So when you then get to that end intensity and your max effort, that analogy then still applies. If I ask you to do the 2 bench presses at the end of the 20 minutes at full capacity, 2 is all you're getting, right? It's all out. Everything you can do to drive those arms out, you got to really work. You got to really challenge yourself. You got to really push. So that's generally where I want you to be at. Now you can still do it. That's really important. I don't want this to turn into a how much can you tolerate competition. I want it to be good movement, good form, good movement mechanics, but that is challenging for the prescribed repetitions. Make sense? Okay, cool. Okay, so a little bit about some of the user interface. Okay, so if you haven't experienced this yet, let's just take a look at some of this stuff. So this is the workout screen that you'll see when you get into the class, and we just have highlighted some buttons here. So your overall intensity decrease and increase buttons are in the bottom corner. So you see highlight in the bottom left there is the minus, the bottom right is the plus. That's going to increase both your master intensity number, and then when you open up the individual muscle group, which we'll highlight in a moment, it'll increase, there's your master intensity number. It'll increase each individual muscle group. Okay, so that's the individual muscle group button with the 3 little parallel lines. It looks like a equalizer on a music machine. Music machine. Okay, so now you see each individual muscle group, right? Now you highlight each one and then you can turn those up. Now this is really important because your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, for most of us, are going to be your biggest numbers, right? Those numbers, or those muscles rather, are much bigger, again, for most of us, than everything else, right? Your glutes are significantly larger muscle than your biceps, for example. So those numbers I want to be the highest. Now you can do them individually, like it shows here, highlight it, turn it up, highlight hamstrings, turn it up, or in the bottom right there, you can see a little icon that looks like a vest, and then a little icon that looks like your shorts. You can highlight that and it'll increase your entire vest together and your entire shorts together. So it's a little bit quicker way to get to a number that you want. And then you can kind of fine tune it in. Okay, now a key little trick here that some people don't know about or overlook is being able to mute a channel. So if for whatever reason you want to turn off a particular muscle group, a particular pad, if you push and hold it, it takes maybe 2 or 3 seconds, just push and hold, and it'll mute that channel. A little line goes through it, it grays out, that muscle group now is turned off, you won't feel it. So know that you always have that option, and then to turn it back on, you just do the same. Okay, now this is the intensity ramp, or I'm sorry, the follow button. Okay, so the little arrow button on the right there that has a little green circle around it. If you push that, it'll flatline your intensity for wherever you are at that moment. You'll stop following the trainer's program and it'll just keep it at whatever intensity you're at for the rest of the workout. So if it ever gets too high, if you've done one of my functional fitness workouts yet in that program, maybe you've experienced this, I get you up to that 100% intensity with like 5 minutes left of the workout. It's pretty challenging. So if you get into one of those workouts, you're like, I can't do it anymore. You can hit that button and it'll flatline where you're at and just kind of keep it for the rest of the workout. You can always refollow and then it'll start following the trainer again at the right proportion. Nice. Okay, so some of the other features really quick. If you're not aware, you can have or we have an app for the Apple Watch. So if you are working out on your phone, the Apple Watch is connected to your phone. You can control your intensities, your master intensities from the Apple Watch itself, which is pretty handy and pretty cool. You can pause, restart the workout from the watch. You can see your heart rate. So that's a nice little feature. You can play around with that if you haven't done so yet. And then you can screencast from either the iPad or the phone to a larger screen, to your TV, for example. So you have it on them. You can see me on a much bigger screen. Yay. And then you have the controls itself. You see the little diagram or the little icon at the bottom there. The controls on the iPad or the phone, handy, right? The big plus and minus buttons and all the functionality there. But the actual video is now up on your TV. Highly recommended. Nice. Okay, so pairing your impulse pack. If you've struggled with this or if you're not sure how to do this, let's just walk through this really quick. First of all, making sure your Bluetooth settings are turned on whatever device you're pairing to. You're opened the Katalyst app. All right. You are in the Katalyst app in the ecosphere of Katalyst. And then you're going to take your impulse pack and you're going to push and hold that button. It takes about 8 seconds or so until the blue light changes from a slow flash to a quick flash. So you don't let the button go until it starts quick flashing. At that moment, you'll see a little Bluetooth pairing window pop up, hit pair, and you're good to go. And you know you're good to go when you see the little battery icon there on the right. It'll tell you how much battery life is left in that impulse pack. And that's it. Nice. Okay, so let's go through some suit setup tips and tricks. I'm going to walk you through kind of the recommendations of this, how we get this on, how we prep it, how we wet it, how we get it on, the whole thing. And then we'll go through some little tricks and take questions and answer any questions that you have about this, whether you've got some stinging or you're having trouble getting connection or whatever. Okay, so first of all, before I jump into wetting the suit and walking you through my little arm pad here, there's 2 things that need to be in place with EMS and with your Katalyst suit. One of them is the conductor. So these 2 things have to be in place to deliver the impulse adequately and to give you this really good, effective, efficient experience. One of them is the conductor. So if you were to go into a physical therapy office and get like, I don't know if you've ever had E-stim, maybe if you've ever had an ACL injury and your physical therapist is going to re-educate your quad, they stick a pad on your quad. It's called an E-stim unit. And it's, essentially the EMS, right? Similar to what we do here. But they use a silicone gel, right? And it's messy, but that's what they use to conduct that signal. Clearly silicone gel is not going to be easy. So we use water, right? We all know water is a great conductor. So wetting the suit is really key. Now, once you get over this learning curve and you get over this this concept of prepping the suit, that okay, this is our motivational hurdle to working. This is like, you're mustering up the motivation, like, okay, I got to work out, I got to do this. Wetting the suit is what we need to do. Okay. And once you get good at it and you get over this like learning curve, you should be able to get in your suit from the time you get on your base layers to the time you hit play on your workout in about 5 minutes or less. It's pretty quick. Max has a video out there with a little timer. He does it in like, I think 3 minutes and 40 seconds or something. It's pretty fast. Okay. So I want you to get comfortable with it though. And I want you to get confident so you know what you're doing is right. You can get into the workout quick and you don't have any connection issues. Okay. So here we go. So with the arm pad, I've got my water bottle here. We switch over to my other camera here. Let's do this. Okay, so all we're going to do, now this is a Gen 4 arm pad. I'm going to wet this a little bit differently. There we go, nice. We're going to wet this a little bit different. I'll kind of show you both ways, okay? So with the Gen 4 pad, see it's this light gray. We're just going to take it a few inches away and we're just going to spray, bang. So on the Gen 4, that's basically all we need to do. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but it's turned to this dark gray color. There we go, right? Super fast. So we go through each pad. We make sure it's fully saturated. Now you can't over wet the suit. So don't worry about any extra water. Like it's, you can't over, I want you to err on the side of more water than not, especially in the beginning so that you don't have any wetting issues. Okay. Now, if it's a Gen 3 suit, then it's a very similar experience. You're going to experience a muscular contraction that is just as amazing and awesome. But the wetting experience is a little bit different. You're going to inject the nozzle into the pad itself and do this little zigzag pattern. Now, the reason we want you to inject the water and kind of push the water into it is we want to get the water saturated fully into all the layers of the all the layers of the pad. So you just think about pushing the water in, doing this little zigzag pattern until it's fully saturated. Okay, and we go through each pad until they're fully saturated, and double check. I like to do a little insurance spray at the end, right? Just an extra, like, okay, each one, make sure, because I don't want you to experience getting into the suit and having like the red pad, right? The red pad issue is either lack of water or a lack of compression, which is the second thing that has to be in place. We have to have really good compression. It has to be a good fit. That's why the Katalyst system was designed in this modular way, right? The vest separate from the short, so we can get you into the right size that works best. Okay, so that's the wetting, right? Double check, make sure it's wet. It should pool up a little bit. You're good to go. Okay, and now let's go through getting the suit
Mike,
on. So let's just. Oh,
Michael,
sorry. Go ahead.
I might just jump in here.
Yeah,
There's quite a few questions on the wedding process, and
yeah.
I
Let's
figured
do it.
while you're on the
Let's go.
stage of it, let's kind of bring some of them up. So, uh, yeah, this is a kind of an interesting one. Let me put my video on so I'm not just sitting here as there we go. Do I need to make all the pads wet and ready in order to bypass that initial message that your suit is ready to go? There's no red pads, even if I'm not going to use some of the pads, the muscle pads. So you know how we showed how you can deactivate a muscle
Mhm.
group in a
Yeah.
pad? Kind of an
So
interesting
you're
question. Do
planning
you still
on.
have to wet it?
Yeah, so let me just get this straight. You're asking, you're planning on deactivating a particular muscle. Do you still have
Mm-hmm.
to wet that pad?
Yeah,
So when you go to connect, the app will say that pad is not ready. It'll say red, and then you can just deactivate it from that point.
perfect. Then another question on the type of water. Does the
Ooh,
type of
yeah,
water used in the long term matter? For example, if you have hard water in your home,
hard water.
will residue eventually create any technical problems with the pads or the suit, or is it fine to use whatever water you have?
Any tap water is fine, not salt water. Don't use ocean water. Any other water is great. Warm water is more comfortable, but it doesn't have an effect of the experience.
Okay,
Highly recommend warm
perfect.
water, though,
But
especially
yeah,
this time of
right.
year.
As long as it's water,
Well,
we're
hard
ready.
water, the hard water question is yeah, it's okay.
Perfect. One more, and then I'll let you get into the food section. So you kind of spoke to this, how it's, getting the suit ready over time gets shorter. And a few members mentioned other methods. For example, I think Andrew mentioned how long does it take if I use the water bucket method, which I think means you dunk the base layer, you put that on, and then you put on the actual suit itself, which maybe you can speak to kind of what we recommend and obviously what we
Yeah.
see maybe some members use and pros and cons.
Yeah. So this is the method that we recommend, right? With the spray bottle, obviously, the spray bottle going through each pad and making sure each one is saturated and adequately wet and prepared. That's the way that we officially recommend. And I do want to stress that once you kind of get used to the process, it is quick. It's not this big, long, drawn out process, right? It's under 5 minutes for sure. Once you get kind of over the thing. Having said that, though, we do have members that wet the base layers first, the bucket method, or sometimes people will get in the base layers and get in the shower and just soak themselves and then put the suit on over the top of it. And that seems to work for them. The base layers, I don't have a pair here, but the technology in the base layers is really great. Actually, it's not just some material; it's the fibers in that base layer. They're antimicrobial, antifungal, first of all, but they're also absorptive. So they're meant to retain all of that water. So you get your base layer soaked, put the suit on top. Seems to work for people. People seem to get good connection. So that is a hack that some people do. We don't recommend getting the entire suit itself wet, as in dunking the suit or holding the suit up in a shower, only because the impulse pack pocket could potentially fill up with water, which doesn't play nice with the impulse pack itself for obvious reasons. So mindful of that. But yeah, those are some other methods. But I do want to stress that the method that we recommend, it's efficient, it's quick. Once you get into it, once you get used to it, gets pretty dialed. Don't let that be an impediment to getting into these crazy efficient workouts. Let me just say that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, that was amazing. I'm gonna jump back into the slides for you and
Nice. Okay. So let's go
continue.
through then getting the suit on. Okay, so if anybody has any other questions about wetting the suit or donning the suit, we can take those too. But let's pretend that my suit here is wet, and that I'm wearing base layers. Okay, I'm gonna go on top here. Okay, so first of all, your suit. Let's say I've worked out a few days ago and I'm ready to work out again. Shorts are connected to the vest. You can leave those connected. You don't need to disconnect, right? So let's keep them connected. I'm done working out. I hang it up to dry, and all the straps are fully loosened, right? Make sure you loosen the straps, only because when you go to get it on, we want the vest and the shorts to be sitting in the right place. And it's much easier to do that with those straps already loosened. So get in the habit when you're done with your workout of re-loosening those straps, okay? So first thing, we're going to put it on like you would a jacket, okay? Mine's actually still a little bit wet from my workout last night. That's awesome. Okay, so vest goes on, or the whole suit goes on rather, and we are going to zip the vest first. Now, when you go to zip the vest, I want to make sure you're pulling it down, right, as much as you can, right? Get it nice and low. So sometimes when we put on a jacket, like if you're putting on a rain jacket, we have a tendency to lift our shoulders and then zip. That leads to too much material sometimes, depending on your body type, your body size, and your vest. Sometimes people get a little too much material up on their shoulders. So we want to pull it as low as you can and then zip, okay? Now, don't tighten this yet. We're just going to zip. So the next step, your belts, okay? We're going to do the shorts. We're going to do your belt first. So belts, you're going to build compression. Like I was saying, compression is one of the two really key elements to this. So in your shorts or in the belt itself, we're going to build compression with the Velcro and not the buckle so much. So I want you to take the belt in your left hand. We're going to situate it around your hips, not up around your waist and not way down here around your butt, but right around those hip bones. Okay. So right around those hip bones, we get the glute pad situated in the right place. Left belt is going to go all the way over to your right hip as far as it will go. Hold it there. And then the right side is going to go all the way over the top as far as it will go. So we really want to build this compression around our hip bones with the Velcro. Okay. And then we connect a buckle on your hip just to secure it. Okay. All right. Now, next step is the legs. So we're going to go through, grab one leg underneath. Make sure you see it, right? So one leg comes through. We're going to do the buckles. They're fully loosened so they connect. Now, before you tighten, we're going to give it a little turn, right? So you see on my side how it fits me, it's a little bit here. We want it to be rotated. So the quad, your quad pad on your thigh here is covering, maybe 65% minimum of that quad. So we want to rotate it out a little bit and then tighten. So the straps kind of go across your outer thigh, okay? And then we do the other side. So that little rotation, that little turn outwards is, that's important. So give it a little rotation, hold it there, and then tighten. Okay. Boom. There's your quads. Okay. Now on the vest, give it an extra pull down, get it situated nice and low. And then you've got the 4 straps on each side. So they pull forward, hook those thumbs in your D rings, work your way up from bottom to top. Okay. And the ones in the armpit, they're always tricky for me. There we go. Tighten those down. Okay. So you should feel this compress. Now, I don't want it so tight that it's compressing your rib cage and you can't take a big deep breath, but it should be tight. Okay. Now, the shoulder straps, if you've got too much material up here, this is one of the little tricks. You're going to put your thumb on the soft shell material itself, not the strap, but the soft shell material of the vest itself. We're just going to create a little fold over the top, right? So you can just kind of get your finger in there, fold it over. Now, I don't have any extra material on mine, but you'll create a nice little fold and then tighten the shoulder straps down so that the chest strap, or the chest pad rather, lays flush against your chest. You don't want any airspace in there. If you've got extra material up there, and you just crank down on these shoulder straps, that extra material will kind of accordion up, right? And there'll be too much airspace. You won't have good connection on your chest or your upper back. And you might get either no connection there, or you might get some of those kind of pinchy, zingy sensations if you don't have that good connection. So make sure it's nice and flush and it's nice and tight. And when we say tight, I mean tight, right? It should feel like you are strapping in to like a parachute and you're about to jump out of a plane, right? Like, woo, get it in there, okay? All right, now really quick. Arm strap. I'll just do the one here. We're going to make a loop first. Okay. So you thread it through, pads on the inside, obviously. Close the Velcro. Okay. So we have this complete loop. All right. This is a much easier way to get it on your arm than trying to thread it through on your arm. Okay. Now we're going to put it on like you would an arm sleeve, but I want the Velcro, see the tab of the Velcro? It's pointing out. Okay. So I want it pointing out towards the outside and not coming in. The only reason I want you to do that is when you go to tighten, arm snaps are on the outside of your arm, gap is on the inside of your arm, right? So there's no padding or the EMS pads are not on the inside of your arm. They sit on your biceps, they sit on your triceps, and there's a gap right here. Okay, that's what we want. Now, when you go to tighten, it's much easier to tighten this way, right, towards the outside of your arm, than to come across and try to tighten this way. Okay, so it's just a little bit easier logistically. So snaps on the outside, gaps on the inside, and that's it. Okay, we get the arm cables on, they snap to the arm and then to your chest. Those cables are interchangeable. There's no top or bottom, there's no left or right. Get those connected, impulse pack fits in the pocket, plug it in, and you're good to go. That's it, right? It should be, like I said, under 5 minutes. It should be quick. Okay.
Michael, I'm going to jump in while
Questions,
you're
concerns?
still in the suit. So one on the
Okay.
arm strap, actually,
Yeah.
which you showed how to place it correctly, which is amazing. That was one of the questions. And then
Cool.
one other question, how tight should it be? Because we say about the suit almost like a corset or a straight jacket. What about
Mm-hmm.
the armband? How tight should it
So
feel?
the armbands, tight. How tight? I wish I could give you like a objective number. I do not want it to be so tight. I don't know if you know what BFR is, blood flow restriction. We don't want to go into that land, right? I don't want to you start to get like tingly fingers because you're cutting off blood circulation. I don't want it that tight, right? I don't want to restrict blood flow. It's not a tourniquet, but it should be tight, right? Like for mine right now, it's tight. When I go to flex my biceps, like, okay, yeah, it's tight. Like I feel it. If it's loose, if you could stick your hand in there, you're not going to have that good connection, and you might get that little pinchy feeling. So just make sure it's tight, but you still have blood flow.
Perfect.
Hope that helps.
I'm going to get you back into the slides because I think you covered a ton on the suit itself, which is amazing.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I can take any other questions. Cool. Okay, so really quick then, reminder as I'm getting out of the suit, just like talking out loud, remember to undo all of the straps, right? So just loosen everything up. Get in the habit of just loosening everything, keeping it connected, and then taking it. So when you go to get into the workout again, you're already set up and good to go. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. Any other questions about suit setup?
I was we're gonna go through them. Nothing on this. I'm gonna save a few towards the end that were a little bit more
Okay.
about the app, the experience, workout programs,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we're in a good spot on the suit. But
Awesome.
please add questions in the chat and we will bring them up along the way.
Nice. Okay.
You can see my
Oh,
slides, right, Michael? Just want to make
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No, no.
I thought you still gonna say something. Okay. So if you are new, if you just got your suit, you haven't got into a workout yet, and you're about to, uh, I want you to make sure you go through you'll see this screen here on the left, the begin suit setup, which I think is what we're talking about here, right? Right. So we can kind of go through the begin suit setup, and you'll see this series of videos on the right here on the right screen on the iPhone. There's a series of videos of me walking you through all of the steps to wet the suit, to get into the suit, to pair the impulse pack, kind of everything we talked about in this webinar. I kind of walk you through it step by step again in those videos. So if you're ever unsure, like, what do I do here? Go through those videos. That's a great reference. You can hit begin workout, and it'll take you into that first workout, your first workout. Cool. Okay. A little bit about the suit longevity, right? How to care for your suits. Okay, like I mentioned, loosening those straps, right? So it makes it a lot easier to get into. It also eliminates tension from it. Just will help your suit last longer. It is extremely durable, but it just is a good practice to loosen up those straps. Hang dry, like I mentioned, right? Make sure you hang it up. Um, and Max actually just showed me this that I never even thought. I turn it inside out, like duh, of course, yeah. Turn it inside out so the pads are facing outwards and they're dry quicker. Like yeah, nice, smart. Look, you can wash the base layers every time. So absolutely do that, of course. Right now, those are again, like I said, antimicrobial and antifungal, but launder those after every workout. Your base layers, the suit itself. The suit itself you can wash in the washing machine. Just make sure it's on delicate, right? On cold. Gentle cycle for sure. And then obviously do not dry. Don't dry it in the dryer, please. Hang it to dry. Okay. But you can wash it. You only need to wash it though every 2 or 3 months, right? The suit itself is antimicrobial and antifungal. But you can wash it every 2 or 3 months. Cool. Okay. So some more resources if you need some more information you can go to, more videos on YouTube. There's a bunch of pro tip videos that are really great. You can kind of get in there and explore and look for any like tips and tricks and more stuff. The step-by-step instructions, like I just had mentioned in the app itself, if you go into the More tab at the bottom of the app, you'll see a little button that says More. Open that up. You'll see a Getting Started tab or Getting Started button. That will take you into that list of videos that just kind of play in sequential order. So that can be really helpful for information. The care team are always available for a one-on-one session. So Isabel and Cameron, who are on this call today, and myself, we can jump into a one-on-one session with you and answer any questions and help you troubleshoot. And if you're having any issues, it's really important for us because this is so innovative and the experience is so new. It's really important for us that you are experiencing it the way that you should be experiencing it, because most people don't have a precedent to EMS workouts like this. Most of us don't have a place we can point to and be like, oh yeah, this feels like that. So it's really important that we are helping you get into this the right way, that you're feeling the right sensations, that your intensity is set to the right place. So if you ever need help, you can book one of those one-on-one sessions. Just reach out to the care team and we can set it up. And then the Katalyst chat on the website, there's a little icon in the bottom right corner of the Katalyst website. You can punch that and put in questions, and that's pretty dang helpful too. Cool. Okay, so new content publication is coming all of the time. We are publishing new workouts every Monday and most Fridays as well. We're dropping new workouts in all the modes: strength, power, cardio, and recovery. There's new series that are coming as well that we're building out this really robust member journey that's going to be really exciting. So there's lots of programs coming. Here it talks about the Building Resilient Joints series that is in the app now that you can see. I highly recommend you go jump into those and explore those a little bit. The functional fitness programs are there now. There are 3 more programs coming in the next 2 weeks, and I'll just give you a little teaser. There are a Build Your Strength program, both beginner and advanced. I take you through the advanced Build Your Strength program. Max takes you through a beginner Build Your Strength program. And then there is a Path to Better Posture program that's coming in the next couple of weeks. So look out for those. We have some new exciting trainers that are on our team now, Casey and Moses. You've probably seen their workouts that are starting to be dropped in the app. So they are fantastic. And there's a couple new trainers that are coming in the pipeline too. So always growing, always getting better, always getting bigger. Nice. Sweet. Okay.
All right, let's do Q&As. And I'm gonna make you a little bigger so we can see. So we've answered a lot of questions along the way, but I'm gonna go way back into the beginning of the webinar to make sure we cover everything. Let's see, Michael. So a more specific question, which I think is quite interesting. What is the best way to strengthen the pelvic floor during a Katalyst workout? Is good form sufficient, or should the pelvic floor be contracted with exhale efforts, for example? Anyways,
Yeah.
big
Okay. No,
question, but if you can
that's a
speak to
great
that.
question. That's an
Hmm.
awesome question. I love this. Okay. So, first of all, the impulse that is being delivered into your core is penetrating quite deep, right? It's not just inducing a contraction in your abdominal rectus and in your obliques. It's penetrating deep and is actually contracting the floor of your pelvis, which is great. So, beyond that, though, and this speaks to the rest of your body, including the floor of your pelvis, I want you to look at these workouts like the impulses are augmenting the movement that you are doing. So if I'm asking you to do a bicep curl, I want you to be flexing your biceps, and then the suit is inducing a contraction on top of that. So don't just like do it passively and let the suit do its thing. I want you to really like work and squeeze. So your breath, that's a great comment in the case of the floor of your pelvis. Yes, as that impulse comes in, your pelvis is tucked in, or your pelvis is tucked forward just a little bit. You're in a really good posture. Your midsection is driven in, right? Your abdominals are contracted, you're breathing, and you're intentionally squeezing. And then the suit is augmenting the contraction on top of that. So the movement is still key. And that's not just, the very surface level movement, but the movement with intention, the movement with contraction from you. And then the suit is augmenting.
Perfect.
Let me
Thank
touch on
you,
that really
Val.
quick with breath. And there's
Mhm.
several workouts where I talk about this, the breathing piece to this. And I'll just do this now because this is something I'm really passionate about. When you're working out, and you are breathing, I want to make sure that your abdominals are contracted. Every time you take a breath, you should not need to relax your abdominals, right? That's what being a belly breather is, right? And lots of us are belly breathers. We just like your abs are completely relaxed and you're using your abdominals to breathe. That shouldn't be the case. We should be diaphragmatic breathers, right? So making sure your ribs are pulled down, you're connected to your hip bones, your abdominals are contracted, and then you're using your diaphragm to breathe, right? Your diaphragm is going up and down. And then that all ties with the floor of your pelvis as well. So as long as you're thinking about doing that in the movements itself, you're going to have great results in helping condition and improve the strength of the floor of your pelvis for sure. And Kegels help too. You can do Kegels.
Well, that's amazing. Thanks for going into depth, Michael. That's really great. Let's see. One other question. Let's see here. If I'm noticing that my triceps are at a max strain during workouts, but my biceps aren't, are there any tips to emphasize bicep development without increasing the intensity? For example, adding a lightweight dumbbell on bicep movements, etc. So triceps are a
Yeah,
max, but biceps aren't.
biceps are not. Okay. Well, your biceps then are probably stronger than your triceps. But yes, okay. So let me speak to this a little bit. There's a couple of things you can do. One, so the placement I showed how to position the arms. Okay, so that's the position that the pad should be on your arm. However, once you get that situated right, there's a little bit of play both rotating it inward and outward that will change the dynamic of the contraction on your arm. For example, if somebody's nerve, right, is more superficial up here, it's going to trigger that nerve a little bit more and you'll feel it down in your fingers. That's totally fine. That's okay. But if you rotate it a little bit more, it might come off of that nerve a little bit, depending on your own personal anatomy, and you may be able to alleviate that. So similarly with activating more of your triceps, you could try rotating the pad just a little bit. Don't rotate it just a little bit. Just play with it a little bit, and it may get a little bit more robust contraction through your triceps. Now, there's a key concept to training with us and training with EMS, and it's this concept of eccentric and concentric muscular contraction. So what that is a concentric contraction is the muscle shortening, right, against gravity. The muscle shortening, it's what we think of a muscular contraction. If I ask you to do a bicep curl, that's the concentric contraction. In a conventional way, in a conventional workout, eccentrically loading, which is the lengthening of the muscle against gravity and against resistance, is called the eccentric phase of the muscular contraction. That's a tremendously effective way to build strength. So think about if you wanted to get better at doing pull-ups. The best way to get better at doing pull-ups is to pull a box up to the bar, step up on the box, put your hands on the bar with you're standing on the box with your chin over the bar, step off the box, and then slowly lower yourself down. So your lats are lengthening against gravity. That's a really effective way to build pull-up strength. That's essentially what's happening through your entire body in the Katalyst suit. So with your biceps and your triceps, if you go hold a dumbbell because you want more bicep work, I don't recommend that because for me anyway, as your strength coach, there's a safety issue almost, right? You're triggering this nerve, you're feeling contractions in your hands, and now you're trying to hold onto a dumbbell. I wouldn't want you to go through that. So personally, I would dissuade you from doing that, but rather let's play with the position and the understanding of this eccentric load. So if you get it positioned right and that muscle is contracting, you're trying to lift more weight because you have a dumbbell in your hand here, but it's really your triceps that is contracting through this eccentric phase. So this is trying to shorten as you're lengthening. That's awesome for contracting your triceps. That's why you're feeling your triceps so much, right? You probably have a muscular imbalance, which we all do, right? It's not a knock on you. We all have muscular imbalances. So I would play with the position of the pad itself, and then just knowing this concept of this eccentric length, this eccentric phase. So the best way for your biceps is actually doing what we would call a triceps extension in the Katalyst suit, right? That lengthening of your biceps is going to be this really tremendously effective way to strengthen that bicep.
Nice. That's awesome. We learned so much, Michael. Even I'm like soaking this up. It's like education for free. I love it.
Sports science, you
Um, yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm going to jump around a little bit, but I saw a question come in kind of on exercise and training. So
Mhm.
Paul was asking, can you talk a little bit about doing cardio with the suit on? Maybe kind of going
Yeah.
back into the cardio mode and any tips and
Yeah.
tricks on that.
Yeah. Okay. So remember, in cardio mode, we have got the trainer-led cardio classes. So, I'm not sure what exactly you want me to touch on, but so we've got the trainer-led cardio classes that are great. You can almost look at those like it's I don't want to say more of a traditional class with cardio with the Catalyst suit superimposed on top of it, but it's a lot of high energy movement, right? Max or Isabel or Chris or one of our trainers might take you through like a jogging motion in place and then jumping into like maybe an ice skater motion or whatever. It's a continuous movement. They're fun, they're great. Uh, and then, like I alluded to, you can also get it into this freestyle mode. And I'll just use me as an example. My personal preference is getting onto the treadmill with the suit going in freestyle mode. So in that mode, you have this consistent pulsing sensation, but I still like it challenging. I still want it. You still feel these contractions. So, I'll get my abs turned up to the point where it almost feels like I'm holding a plank. Back to the previous question about contracting the floor of your pelvis in cardio mode, now we're not inducing a full muscular contraction, but you start to build this muscular burn, right? Like, yes, we're in aerobic state, but that burn is a sign that we're tipping into anaerobic contraction. So we're creating this really good muscular endurance, which is awesome. You want to adjust each individual muscle group, just like you would in strength and power mode. You would do that in cardio mode also. So you turn your glutes up, you turn your quads up. But again, it's this consistent pulsing sensation. It's a hard thing to articulate. I want you to just go in and try it. Like, go get into cardio mode if you've got a treadmill home, or if you don't, go for a walk around your block um, in cardio mode and just kind of see what that feels like. Play around with it a little bit.
Thanks,
But yeah,
Michael.
hopefully that touched on the right question. If there's anything more specific from that question, then um,
Yeah,
I
Paul,
can grab that
please
too.
write in the chat if you want to touch on something specific, but if that kind of covered it at least high level, give us a thumbs up. But in the meantime, I'll bring up a different question that came up earlier in the webinar. Is a little bit more technical, but I think it's a good highlight. Is there a place in the app to see how many workouts I've done, which ones I've done the most of, how many times, etc.? And obviously, the app has gone through a little bit of a refresh. So maybe you can speak to that as well, Michael.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you've been in the app recently, in the last week, 2 weeks maybe, we have a new skin on the app, so it looks really nice. It's getting better and better all the time. So in the activity tab, if you open up your activity tab in the app, just let me open mine up to make sure I don't misquote you here. If you open up your activity tab, you'll see your recent workout history. So you can, under that, it tells you your total workouts, how many minutes you've been in the suit, total workouts per mode, or you can see all this different data and then what your recent workout history is. We do not have yet a functionality where you can see how many times you've done each individual workout. A lot of those things are coming, right? Like I said, we're getting better and improving and evolving all of the time. More features are coming all the time. So be looking out for things like that for sure. There's a new end of workout screen that is coming soon. It's going to be really nice. It'll have more information for you about what your ending intensity was and what each individual muscle group is. So a lot of really cool information is coming in that activity tab. So look out for all of that stuff for sure.
Great. One other question, kind of pivoting themes, but about the suit, how often do you recommend replacing the suit? We talked about longevity of the suit, how to keep it
Good
lasting as
question.
long, but
They're
yeah, how
yeah,
often?
they're durable. How often do we recommend replacing the suit? They're super durable. We don't recommend replacing the suit. If you take care of it, and even if you don't take care of it, you abuse the heck out of it. They're super, super durable. I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, you're talking years and years. Um, there'll be new generations of the suit before you actually need to replace the suit from, use. They'll last a long time.
Absolutely. Exactly. It really depends on usage, right? If you use it extremely frequently for many, many years and there could be wear and tear, but I think
Mine's a good
we've had
example.
very few. Yeah.
I beat the heck out of mine, right? I mean, I use mine all of the time, filming content for you,
Yeah.
working out myself here at home. Like, it gets a lot of use, and still going super strong.
Okay, I think we have one more question left if no others kind of come in, but I think from Kelly here just recently. Um, I love this suit and was thinking about getting one for my husband for Christmas. Love that. But he has a plate on his wrist. Will he be able to use it? And I know we have contraindications and sort of like who can use it and who cannot. So I assume the plate meaning metal plate on the wrist here.
If there's metal, and maybe I can have Cameron and Isabel correct me if I'm wrong here, but if we have metal anywhere in the body, I
Yeah,
believe that's a
it's a
contraindication.
contraindication.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Metal
So
and
unfortunately, exactly,
electricity
it's a
don't play well.
contraindication.
But I would consult your
And
doctor as well, right? Like,
yeah,
talk to the doctor. We always defer to that. Um, and get some further. Officially it's a contraindication from us, but seek your doctor's
exactly.
advice for sure.
And I think that applies to Dennis. This question that just came in here too. Any issue if someone has a pacemaker or other implanted electric devices, there
Pacemaker for
are
sure.
exactly there are contraindications, and so we can't really recommend for that, unfortunately. But thank you for kind of voicing these.
Unfortunately, my mother has a defibrillator in her chest. I would love to get her into our workouts, but that definitely does not play nice with electric impulse.
I
So
know.
yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna jump quickly back into we have like two more slides maybe, and then that will leave maybe a few more minutes for questions to trickle in, and then we can wrap it up like that.
yeah, yeah. So we have some of these podcasts that are amazing. Our CEO and founder um, he has this podcast and he interviews some of our current members. They go through their story. They're really inspiring. They're awesome information. Um, the latest one with a doctor here talks about menopause and her experience with Catalyst and how much she believes in what we're doing and how much it can help. So they're great listens. Our CEO and founder is a fantastic speaker, and I highly recommend going to have a listen to these podcasts for sure. Cool. And then some other ways you can connect with us, all the socials, of course, right? Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. If you haven't searched us out there, do so, please. Give us a follow, all the things. But there's always information and stuff there. And, building community is something that we're really passionate about and growing. So jump on those and get connected, reach out if you ever need anything, or if you have any comments or whatever. Let's hear about it. I want to hear about how the workouts are for sure. For me, selfishly, let me know how the workouts are. give me give me some information. What you're loving, what you're not loving. Helps.
Great. I think we hit the end. I think we answered all questions. I didn't see any more pop up here in the last kind of few minutes. So maybe we wrap. We say thank you so much. I think again, I just want to remind if you joined today and you have more questions, feel free to join. We do these every 2 weeks. It's for new members, existing members. If you want to refresh, if you just have more questions they came up and you want kind of a live interaction, join us as many times as you want. It's just exciting for us, and this is why we do them. And again, if you had to jump off or you jumped on late, we were going to share the full recording, the slides, all the information so you can digest it on your own time. And I will say thank you, Michael. Thank you, Isabel and Cameron, for supporting us in the background. Yeah, Michael, I'll leave it to you to wrap it up and any final closing words before we say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks everybody for jumping on. Thanks for the questions. Super appreciative. I hope that it helps, and I hope that now you can go jump into the workout and be confident and know that you are going to have the best 20 minutes of your day. So go have an amazing workout and let us know. Let us know how it is.
Bye, everybody. Have
Nice.
a good
Thank
rest
you.
of your week. Happy Halloween.